Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Angel's Haven. I was supposed to have someone here today who would have been in the park filming tiny houses, and in anticipation of her arrival, I got the whole house clean and straightened up and looking exactly the way I want it. She canceled on us, so instead of her videoing, I'm going to video. I have had a couple of people come through and tour my house recently, and one of the things they asked me is how much it has changed since I moved in. Have I moved things around? Have I made different choices? Is it possible to rearrange in a tiny house? Do you get bored with one arrangement? If so, what do you do? They also ask me, how do you feel about it now that you've been here for 6 months? So with those questions in mind, I'm going to walk through. If you have watched some of my earlier videos, you know what it looked like before and when I first moved in and as I unpacked. If you want to compare how it looks now, go back and look at the old videos. As always, if you like this video, please share it and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, as you can see, I have a little garden, but I'm going to start with my walk. This walk was built for me in January or February by one of the guys here in the park. It's basically just pavers on sand. I have over the last few months added sand, and that's something that, as you can see, probably should be done again. The sand does settle. I have a rubber stoop for it. I don't know the real name for that, but Paul Flaner, who lives next door to me, gave me that. I had a board there and I was tripping on the board and he noticed it and gave me that. I have gotten rid of most of the plastic boxes that were under the house earlier. There's one left. You can see that green one there. That has hardware in it. I actually probably should put that hardware inside my storage cabinet, but I haven't done that yet. Just haven't gotten around to it. There's a vehicle going by. I don't know if you can hear it. So here is my garden. It has evolved a little. I have a nice bird feeder, which one of the ladies that lives in the park made for me. Basically, it's a teacup on a table leg. And she picked out a teacup for me that she thought looked like me. And as you'll see when we go into the house, I actually have a box in the same print. They both came from Marshall's. My sister gave me the box, so evidently that print says Corinne to more than one person. My sister also gave me the solar bird that's in my ice plant, and the stone that says, I will always have a friend because I have a sister. The garden contains other objects that came from our house in Kansas City. The paver under the succulents in the front was the gravestone of one of our cats. The big Yellowstone came from Yellowstone Park, which we visited 15 years ago. The little guy in the back was peering over a bowl of water in my garden at home, my former home. You can also see the little Angel's Haven plaque that Pat Reynolds made me. Pardon me, I'm a little breathy today. It's kind of cloudy and I think the air might be a little more humid than usual. So I'm a little breathy. I apologize for that. So anyway, you see I'm going to get a little closer to my limes so you can see that I have limes on my lime tree. I had someone tour my house that told me that these little lime trees and lemon trees that they sell at nurseries are actually grafts. And I'm going to get really close to see that graft at the base of that. He also told me that those limes will be mature next spring. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. I'm going to look that up. And there is my Angel's Haven plaque. As you know, Angel's Haven is the name of my house. So previously I had a Tibetan prayer flag on my porch. It came from a thrift store in Ileton. It was tattered when I got it, and I finally just took it down. What's on there now are ornaments that are from our house in Kansas City, Christmas ornaments. I would not be able to leave those up in the rainy season, which is spring here, but I think they look nice for now. Of course, an angel. 2 of those came from World's Window, so props to World's Window back in Kansas City. My little cactus that I bought at the Trilogy garage sale are doing very well. They've all rooted. We have lots of spiders here in Northern California. You could spend your life brushing off spider webs. So I'm going to pause and go into the house. Oh, one more thing. Someone asked me what all I got after I moved here. The rocking chair, that gray stool, and the old box on which the chess set is sitting. I bought in Lodi. The laundry drying rack I got after I moved here. I hung clothes out in the basement at home, my former home. The only reason I hang clothes is that I buy a lot of cotton and I don't like to dry it. So anyway, those are things that I bought. Actually, that white chair I got at a thrift store in Rio Vista. So everything on the porch I acquired after I moved here. I had porch rockers in Kansas City. I just couldn't fit them to pack them, and I actually gave them to the woman that bought my house there. So I'm going to pause and go inside. Okay, so here we are back inside. I have recently acquired a rug for the floor. It's actually a runner. The reason I got it was that I do yoga stretches, and every day I was getting out my yoga mat. It was a little awkward and cumbersome. I thought if I had a rug on the floor, I could just use that. And that's exactly what I do. There's the box that I mentioned. It's the same print as the teacup, which I think is ironic. So when last I videoed, I was talking about, or one of my more recent ones, I was talking about my evaporative cooler, which I tried. I didn't like. It didn't do much. I sent it back. You can see I now have 2 of those Dollar General fans. They cost $12 at Dollar General. The one in the bathroom window, I flip around when I take a shower so it draws out the moisture. Since my builder, without my knowledge ahead of time, didn't put a vent fan, that serves as a vent fan. The one in the big window, at night I just move it to the stair and it blows into the bed area. I have another fan in the kitchen area, which is clipped to the shelf, and those fans with the ceiling fan, which you can see up there, keep my house very cool, at least cool by my standards. So that works great for me. So I haven't really changed anything in the kitchen, but I'll give you a view of it. I, of course, have my beautiful art up. Marianne Coonrod, watercolor, Nicole de Thibodeau, plein air, Genevieve Casey, photograph, little artwork from my son's childhood. Under the shelf, many hands make light work. A card that I got from Hope Rehack says, "Your future looks bright." I hope she's right. The card next to it is a depiction of the hostel at Montara. I found that at a thrift store, and I love the hostel at Montara, so instead of sending it out, I put it up. So my kitchen has proven very functional. I have not yet fixed the sink, which was improperly done by my builder. As you can see, I need to, I guess, seal the edge there. I just haven't gotten anyone to do it. I sort of quit having work done because I haven't found a job yet. I ran out of allocated money, but I will. So I really like my kitchen still. The layout is perfect. I made a few changes in how I work the surface, but it's settled into a very workable solution for me. All the ways that I have things arranged. I did get a timer for the coffee pot. Of course, the outlets are still upside down, but kind of gotten used to having upside down outlets. So this works out great. The spice rack my son gave me, the shelf that holds food. I did put a couple of little LED touch lights. You see one up there under the ladder rail, and that way someone up in the sleeping loft can touch that. I'm going to pause and touch it, show you how it works. So there you go. It's on and off. And if you were going up the ladder, you could turn that on and off from the bed. So everything over here has worked out beautifully. I like the towel shelf. Someday I might consider putting a door on that shelf so it doesn't look quite so messy, I guess you would say, but I try to keep the towels nicely folded. The hardware cupboard here, and under the refrigerator, I personally think those could be arranged better, but they've settled into that arrangement, and it seems to work for me. Moving over here, my extra dishes on top of the refrigerator. I do actually use those from time to time when I have visitors. Moving into the bathroom. That gray shelf came from Secondhand Rose in Lodi, which is where I got the rocking chair and the little gray stool. I put up a sign to describe how you use the composting toilet. Everything else in here is pretty much the same. If you haven't seen my shower, I love my tile. These grab bars are indispensable. And masks that my son made in elementary school. If you've seen my prior videos, you know I planned my whole house basically around where my mother-in-law's secretary was going to go, and that has worked out. I know that if I didn't have that, I could have a comfortable chair in that spot, and if I ever decided to get rid of that, that's exactly what I would put there. But I love that secretary. Behind it are my brooms, my little electric broom vacuum thing, coats hanging on the coat rack that was my son's. I brought my Chamley here. That's that little bench you see. My dad made that one. The original ones were made by my mother's grandfather, my great-grandfather, Ols. And Chumley is the Austrian word for little bench. I think my brother Frank has the original ones. My blue door looks great. I ended up decorating in blue, green, and whatever that yellowy teal, not teal, yellowy orange color is. And I don't know, I've always liked blue and green. Those are my favorite colors. And I'm drawn, as you can see, to art in blue and green. Yesterday I had a couple here touring my house. People that come to Park Delta Bay, if they see me on the porch, they ask if they can see my tiny house. This was a couple with a little girl, and they made a beeline and sat on my daybed. Two women and their daughter. The little girl and one of the mothers sat on the daybed just like a couch, the way I thought everyone would. The other woman and I sat in chairs. I sat in my little eating table chair. She pulled out the little chair, sewing table chair, which I'll show you in a minute. And it was a nice little visit. So people that don't want to sit on the daybed, I don't really understand that, but those ladies did and were very comfortable. At least one of them did with her daughter. Adorable little girl, by the way. So my table, I love the look of it. It really functionally does not serve any purpose except for one person. I really wanted a table that could seat two. It can in a pinch, but it really is uncomfortable because of the fact that it comes out right where the stairs are. I understand the limitations that drove its placement, but I really would like to come up with a different solution eventually. But it's a gorgeous table, so I appreciate that Sheldon made it for me. The chair that I sit to eat on, and I purchased, this came from my mother-in-law's house as well. It was with the secretary. I purchased that pillow. Actually, there are two. I purchased a set of two. They're actually chair seats, or chair pads, seat pads, but I have degenerated discs and my back was really hurting sitting in this chair all the time. So I bought that from Amazon. So this is the sewing chair that I mentioned. I'm going to pull it out. This came from Secondhand Rose in Lodi as well. It is mid-century modern, and it had all of its thread in it still. It fits right under here. I'm going to pause and push it so you don't have to hear it. So that came from Secondhand Rose in Lodi also, which is an amazing flea market. If you live near the area, I encourage you to go there. I hope my finger was not in front of the lens. Let's see. So these are two folding chairs and two little tables. So the folding chairs came from Secondhand Rose in Lodi. Pat Reynolds and I found them there. The cushions that go on the folding chair seats came from Bed Bath & Beyond. The two little folding tables that are in there, I bought years and years ago at an estate sale in Kansas City. So those are my auxiliary seating and auxiliary tablage, and they just slide right out. You can set them up. I keep them in there because there's not enough walk room to keep them open. And that's the best solution that I could come up with for seating for people who are uncomfortable sitting on my bed / day bed. So you can see that I now have the wicker cabinet that was in the compartment where the chairs now are. I am now using that as a bedside table. There was a beautiful Amish table there. That table is now right there, and I'm going to pause. There's my beautiful Scott Anderson photograph on the wall there. I'm going to pause and put the dining room table up and show you how I use that Amish table. So I'll be right back. So as you can see, when I put the dining room table up, that little Amish table becomes a side table for my chair. I often sit there and drink coffee in the morning, and that little table fits just perfectly there. For one person, I can even eat breakfast or dinner there, although I usually put the table down. So that works out. It also makes it easier to get up the stairs. So that little Amish table came from the house in Kansas City, and it works just perfectly there. So let's see. Oh, I also previously had the sewing table chair, or the sewing chair, in that corner. I really felt as though it was too crowded there, and I felt as though the writing loft was too crowded, which is where that bookshelf was. So yesterday I moved that bookshelf down here, and I really like it there. That bookshelf came from my house in Kansas City. I recently brought the wind chime, which was in my office in Kansas City. I recently brought it to California, and I missed having it. It's battery operated, and it's a very lovely sound. So I put it there, and I like having this bookshelf there. So that's a change. Now I'm going to pause and walk up the stairs so you don't have to bump up there with me. So here I am in my writing loft. I do a lot of writing up here. One of the changes I made when I moved that bookshelf down to the first floor, it previously sat under that beautiful painting by Nicole Thibodeau. I was having trouble reaching my printer while I worked, so I had in mind that I wanted to have my printer where I could more easily reach it. It previously was in the spot where that little wicker stand is. That little wicker stand previously was to the right of the desk. So when I moved the bookshelf downstairs, then I had a spot for the printer. And I also think that the writing loft had gotten crowded. So I like it better with one less thing. I have another little fan up here. I bought that fan at a thrift store, I think a Goodwill in Lodi, for $2, believe it or not. Not wild about the pink, but I am wild about the price, and it draws in the cool air from that window. So I'm very comfortable at my writing loft. What you see here that I didn't bring with me, the only thing up here that I didn't bring with me is the wicker stand on which the printer sits. Everything else came from Kansas City, I think. Yes. Maple table, wicker stool. Yes, everything up here except the wicker stand came from Kansas City. And now, let me turn. So my sleeping loft has stayed pretty much the same. And I have had guests stay here. My friend Dave Michael stayed here. He found it comfortable. So there you have it. That's what Angel's Haven looks like today. And as always, I hope you've enjoyed this rather long video. I talk slow. I think that's why my videos are so long. But I appreciate you spending 25 minutes of my tiny life with me. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel and share my videos. And I'll see you next time.